Right. Thank you so much, and welcome to part three of a multi-part series on North Pacific's Northern Broadcasting Service on YouTube or Spotify with our former Chief Justice Attorney Socialism. Um, if you're listening to us on YouTube or on Spotify, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're currently not a citizen of North Pacific, please go to our website and apply for citizenship. Also, if you currently have multiple nations, please don't forget to park your vote assembly nation with TNP. By doing so, you can be part of the most powerful voting bloc in the world assembly. Welcome back. Welcome back, Attempted Socialism. Welcome back to the TNP NBS.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we are really getting into to all of the details about the TNP judiciary here.
Yep. I think in the first episode we were talking more about how your time was, some of your favorite cases, like case number 69 and case number 72 on defunct rulings and on the definition of treaties and the delegate's authority to mention residents. And in the second episode, we talked about some of the reforms that you were talking about. On this episode, I wanted to have a quick run through on one of the cases that I found quite interesting, which is when you had to recuse yourself, which was the North Pacific versus St. George. Bearing in mind that although this episode was taped before the 1 year expiry of the embargo on the discussions, this episode is going out after the 1 year embargo. So we'll be fine with discussing some of the details of that. And I wanted to particularly go into this because potential conflict of interest, and I wanted to go through the legal process a bit because of the fact that you had to recuse yourself, and then the defense moved from mistrial. I don't know if you remember that. So just wanted to
I
go
do.
through that case.
Yeah. So because St. George had the allegation was that St. George had participated in or had committed the TNP crime of espionage, and by revealing confidential information. And because both we had two justices at that point who were either advisors to Palath Ghost was advisor to the delegate, and I was deputy minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we both had at least a perceived conflict of interest. Palath was then also a material witness to some of the events. So St. George asked for the recusal of Palath at the onset of the case, which I found to be, well, very much the done thing. That was Palath was there was no question of if the defense wanted Palath to be recused, then Palath recused themselves. I offered my own recusal because of, well, I didn't think I was biased, but I could clearly see that my position as deputy minister was a potential source of bias. It was at the very least a potential perception for bias. So I offered my recusal in the beginning as well. St. George, when I offered it, said that I did not. St. George did not see the need for me to recuse myself. He changed his mind and asked for my recusal, which I granted. I never wanted to be in a position where there was a substantial a substantial risk that I might be perceived as being biased. I did not want that, so I recused myself. However, and this is where we get back into what we talked about in the first episode, that meant that we were 2 justices down out of 3. So we had to appoint temporary hearing officers and a standby hearing officer. And that standby hearing officers had at that point to be appointed by the Chief Justice, which was me. I was recused, and yet I had to appoint a standby hearing officer. How to thread that needle? The way that we did it was that I think it was one or two temporary hearing officers who were overseeing the case along with Ilhuvatar, and they recommended a standby hearing officer to me, which I followed that recommendation without any other input from me because of that. Because of my recusal. The defense moved for mistrial on that. I think the defense was wrong. From memory, I also think they alleged. I think they also alleged that Ilhuvatar had broken the law. I disagree with both of those. That I could not see any other way out of this where their recusal, their request for my recusal, could be threaded with still appointing the standby hearing officer that I had to appoint as Chief Justice. We changed the rules afterwards. We changed the court procedures to allow for, in a case where the Chief Justice is recused, then the the remaining justices and temporary hearing officers can step in and designate someone to carry out the action, so that we wouldn't have to be in this situation in the future. But I think the defense I think the mistake of the defense to not ask for my recusal when I offered it and say that I did not need to recuse myself, and then later ask for my recusal, that kind of messed up part of the of that trial. I did not see, as I said, I did not and still do not see any way that I could thread the needle in another way than I did, along with Ilhuvatar and the temporary hearing officers who made that recommendation.
Right. Yeah, I think that was a fairly I would say unusual maneuver by, I think it was Kratos, to as the defense to move for a mistrial, and then um I'm just looking at the case materials now, and it does seem to be a very unusual maneuver, which is why I thought that it would be interesting to bring that up. And also because this episode is going out after the case has been concluded anyways. After the 1 year um one year uh FYA request block would have been expired. So I thought that that was an interesting case to bring up. And of course, for the record, the temporary hearing officers in that case were originally Santeria and Grapevines mom, and that actually ended up being me and Grapevines mom and Ilvata on that case. So that was also one reason why I brought that up. Because I ended up being THO on that case as well. Actually, was also the only time I ever actually did THO work for the court.
Yeah, so in a way, you actually know more about the case than I do. But tying back to the second episode where I talked about prosecutorial discretion and the option for pleading no contest, that was that was how that apologies. That was how that case ended, right? So the prosecutor in the case dropped the espionage charge, and then St. George pled no contest to, I can't remember, was it a charge of gross misconduct? Yeah, gross misconduct.
I think it was the indictment was gross misconduct, and I believe there was a plea deal, so it was a plea deal was announced.
Yeah, the plea deal was to gross misconduct, and then the charge of espionage was dropped. So that was how that one ended.
I believe so. Yeah, the transcript would have the full details on that. I won't go into too much detail. But the transcript actually did oddly. I think we were inclined to decline the plea deal. So we were actually inclined to give St. George a more lenient sentence that was agreed to. But that's another story for another day. This will go out after this is declassified, so it's no problem.
I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
it has to, because otherwise, confidential violations. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I just it's difficult to talk about a case where now that we're recording, it's still confidential. When it goes out, it's declassified. So I just mused on that.
No, it should be fine. Cooper or Bob or one of the guys in the new Ministry of Radio can adjust that pretty easily, so it won't be much of a problem in terms of just getting the adjustments done on the editing side. We've got a pretty good radio bot. I think we have to take another short break. So when we come back, on part 4 of our interview, we'll talk about your time as the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the North Pacific. Thanks so much for joining us today. Attentive Socialism, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm very happy to be afforded the opportunity to dig into the TNP judiciary. It's been a great fun.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. You've been listening to the Northern Broadcasting Service of the North Pacific on YouTube or Spotify, and if you're listening to us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you're currently not a citizen of North Pacific, let's go to our website and apply for citizenship. And also, if you currently have multiple nations, don't forget to affiliate your World Assembly nation with the North Pacific. Doing so, you can be part of the most powerful voting bloc in the World Assembly. And on the next episode, part 4 of our multi-part series with Attendant Socialism, we'll discuss his career in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you so much.